Public Q&A presents AskReddit question. What is the most disgusting secret you're hiding right now? We had a candy corn counting contest in like 4th or 5th grade, where you guess how many are in the big jar. When no one was looking, I carefully took the tape off the top thinking I was going to count them all or something, and saw that they had written the total on the inside of the top, so, being a genius, I took out about 30 of them, ate the evidence, and put my guess in for the number -35, yes no, so it wouldn't be suspicious if I got it on the nose, not realizing they weren't going to recount them. The winner guessed it within 20 of the number on the bottom of the lid. So basically, I cheated, sabotaged, and still lost, and I kept all that stupidity to myself for all these years. Candy corn counting contest is an extremely fun sentence to say, should have demanded a recount. In primary school, elementary, me and my friends saw water dripping from the rooftop on the playground. Without thinking, we'd let it drop into our mouths and drink it, giggling and excited we'd found our own water source. A teacher caught us, and we had to be checked out because it turned out the water was coming from a pipe or something that rats had ran through. As a small child, I ate an old piece of gum from under a bus seat. I'd really like to exchange my mouth for a new one. Edit. Who gave me the award? I want to say thanks. It's okay, I put that gum there and had just brushed my teeth. You are just fine. When my sister was younger, probably around 2-4 age range, whenever she did something I asked her to do, I gave her a dog bone as a reward. She never listened when we were younger, but as soon as I started giving her dog bones, she was a different person. It was great. This was almost 20 years ago now, and I would have gotten away with it too if it weren't for my meddling mom asking why her breath smelled like dog food randomly. When I was 10, I used to dance nude in the balcony after a bath just to piss of my mom. Sounds like a Calvin and Hobbes strip. LMAO. One time, when I was like 9 or 10, I had to go to the bathroom really badly while my family and I were at a hotel pool. I didn't make it in time, so I sat on the pavement and just shit on the pavement. In my swimsuit. When no one was around, I snuck to the bathroom and tried to clean it up the best I could. Never told anyone about that. LOL. Edit. LOL. I'm not talking solid poop. I'm talking about full liquid shit, literally. When I was younger, I would steal coins from my parents, and when I had enough, I would bring them to my dad and had them changed to paper bills, and he would be so proud of me for saving coins that he would buy me ice cream or sweetbread. He knew. Yes, he absolutely knew. 10 years ago I used to do the same shit. Recently, about 2 years ago, my dad told me that he knew what I was doing. We had a good laugh. I love you, Dad. Heavy black heart. When I was about 5, I used to prefer cat food to normal food. Now I can't stand the taste of cat food or human food. As a student with a shitty waitering job paying me almost nothing, I used to eat the food my customers didn't want after I took their plates to the kitchen. Been there, mate. It was like a second fucking payday if someone forgot about them. To go order. Unethical life pro tip: call in a to-go order shortly before closing, then take it home when never claimed. If the kitchen staff catches onto this, you'll be stabbed walking to your car after your closing shift. Seriously. Any waitstaff job I had, the cooks would happily mess up a meal in our favor. It's also a matter of whether it's a toss 2 things in the fryer and we're done versus fire the entire grill lineup for one last order 2 minutes from closing when half our kitchen is already closed and on the way home. One time I spit my gum into a donation box for kids with autism thinking it was a trash can. Is it bad that this made me laugh? A majority of the time, the voice in my head / first thoughts are just really unnecessarily mean. Towards myself, but especially others. Even those I care about. Extremely nitpicky, selfish, rude, etc. thoughts. I don't understand why. Sometimes it leaks out into the real world on its really bad days, and I'm just an ass. It makes me feel pretty bad about who I am as a person sometimes. because I really just want to be a lovely person and think the best about others. And I don't feel like a good one very often because of these thoughts. I guess maybe op meant nasty equals disgusting, but it feels disgusting to me some days. Edit. I truly appreciate everyone's suggestions and information. Thank you very much. Someone's mom once said, "You are not your first thoughts, you are the ones that correct them." I read something about intrusive thoughts a while back that has really stuck with me. The saying was, "You can't stop a bird from landing on your head, but you can keep it from making a nest there." Your first thought is what you have been conditioned to think. Your second thought defines who you are. Did you grow up with a critical or mean parent? Possibly. If you think something mean, just stop your brain and say, "No, that's not fair to them, and here's why." If you say something mean, just apologize right then and say, "That was unacceptable. What I should have said was underscore 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 dot." Eventually the second thought will begin to take precedence over the mean one. Hope this helps. My younger brother used to eat the dog food because he thought it would make him better friends with the dog. We began to leave a bowl out for him next to the dog bowl. You shouldn't have let him eat that. Now his babies will be born naked. Animals. Wait, you mean the skin tentacles aren't normal? Improvise, adapt, overcome. Woof woof. That last year, when I was suspended from work for 6 months, it was due a failed post-accident drug test. I wasn't laid off. I knew it, yet Katie told Amber, then everybody found out. When my sister and I were little, she would lick her cat because she thought she was helping to clean him. Did you grow up in Scranton with a sister named Angela? One morning I couldn't be bothered making my breakfast and a coffee, so I added instant coffee to my cereal, mixed it into the milk, and ate coffee cereal. Was it good? I might try that. When I was 8, my 19-year-old cousin tried to make out with me. I remember him rubbing my leg and kissing me in the kitchen whilst my mum was in the living room. I didn't understand what was really happening at the time, but I knew I didn't like it. I kept nervous giggling and pushing him away. After a couple of minutes, he looked disappointed and walked away. I don't remember if he ever tried anything else. He was killed in an accident 3 years later, and I chose never to tell anybody as I didn't want to add to my aunt's grief. Edit. Oh my gosh, I was not expecting such an overwhelming response. Truthfully, I never realized how much I needed to just get it off my chest. Thank you all so much for the love and support, it really means the world. Edit 2. My cousin was not named Fire, and he didn't die in a fire. I am just a redhead face with tears of joy. Damn, that's fucked. I was 5, my cousin was 13. He was my big bro, so I didn't think anything of it when he locked the door to his room. Went on for a year or 2 whenever we visited. He committed suicide a few years ago, and I won't be able to say anything to my family because there is a shrine to him at my grandmother's house. She raised him. Gosh, this sounds exactly like my story. When my cousin died, my mom was telling me I had to go to his funeral out of respect. I then, being already a 19-yo, told her that her good nephew molested me when I was 5 until 8-yo when he moved out. He was around 8 years older than me. When I told her, her expression went blank and she said, "Do you think he touched your brother too, and that's why he's like that?" Meaning gay. I was fuming. And even 10 years later she still thinks of him like her good nephew, and poor him, that he died tragically in a car accident. It's like she forgot that her nephew damaged me, and I had to go to therapy to overcome all that stuff and finally have a healthy sexual life. Sorry, I'm venting. Edit. His, her. English is hard. I was 11 and my cousin was 17. One weekend the cousins were staying at his house because our parents were traveling. He locked his bedroom door and put on a Poe*N VHS. He kissed me as I pushed him away and rubbed my breasts through my shirt while I pushed him away. I finally got away from him and wouldn't go anywhere near him the rest of the weekend. I never told anyone, but oddly when our parents got back from the trip my uncle, his dad, stopped talking to my dad. They are brothers. My dad says he has asked his brother why he ghosted, but never hasn't gotten a response. My cousin died 15 years later, and I never said anything. The last time I saw that uncle was at the funeral. He has never been to a family function since then, not even to his granddaughter's wedding. That same weekend my older cousin did this. All of the kids, 7 of us, were playing hide and seek. I was in the closet with my 6-year-old cousin, his younger brother, when the younger cousin tried to kiss me. I stopped it and got out of the closet before anything else happened. As I type this out now, it makes me wonder if they were being sexually abused. The older one I can kind of explain off as a curious horny teenager, but not the younger one. That weekend is one I can never tell anyone about now because he is dead, and cannot defend himself, so it makes me look bad to say anything. Thank you for letting me get this out here anonymously. It can be a heavy burden some days, as nothing can ever be done to change the past. I had no experience at that time to see signs of possible abuse to try to help. That I am sat in my office at work, surrounded by a team of socially distanced staff, and I've just sharded. Update, managed to crack a window and spin conference calls out long enough for everyone to go home. It's time go home and shower. Then burn this suit. Thanks for the concern. It's been a day. My one friend has no idea that I've known that he doesn't have kids for months, also that I know he's been saying this and lying to everyone for attention. He tells a very convincing story. He goes into vague details, has a photo of the girl, says that she's been showing him fake paperwork as proof for the children. If what he says is true, would be literally extortion. Everything. Little does he know that I've been watching closely, and also researching to find this woman. I know she isn't real, and that he's lying and been lying this whole time for almost a year. Nothing he says makes sense, and it just keeps escalating, which also doesn't make sense. I literally couldn't help myself but investigate. If everyone finds out that he's been lying this whole time, it will spread like wildfire. He doesn't have many friends, and the friends he did have stopped talking to him because of his compulsive lying. Edit. Holy crap, this blew up. I'll try to get to as many comments as possible. I had a friend like that in college. I talked to him about it, and while he took it super hard at first, I gave him examples and he broke down. It turns out he had been so severely bullied for his whole life that he had absolutely no confidence in being able to attract and keep people in his life without those lies. It took a lot of time and work on his part, and me kindly and patiently reminding him when he slipped on my part, but he changed. I gained a solid friend as a result of my being willing to stick around and work with him through it. It was a life-changing experience for both of us. Now that is something awesome, because for most people the go-to move after you had caught someone's lies would be to cut the ties with them, and it wouldn't sound a terrible move either. But you changed someone's life by giving them second chance. Kudos. I have a friend who has faked pregnancies for 15 years. Faked having a baby and a hospital birth, everything. Said the baby died, etc. I know she's lying and called her out. She keeps lying. She's due for a set of twins in July a few years ago. Never did meet those cuties. Unamused face. What a sad and stressful way to live. It's very sad. She's such a fun person to be around, but I just had to let the relationship go. I gave her so many non-judgmental, compassionate opportunities to simply tell the truth so we could just forget it and keep being friends, but she kept lying. It's very, very sad. Do we have the same friend? Except with the twins, she couldn't remember who she told she was having twins and who she hadn't. Then she disappeared for a few days and came back and said she had them out of town and they died. She is no longer a friend for other reasons, but we weren't close anyway. My best friend used to convince me to hang out with a girl like this. She would manipulate men into sleeping with her, and would tell them that she's pregnant once they tried to leave. It would either come out that I was just kidding, or I had a miscarriage. When they eventually left for good, she would tell people that they were abusive, they raped her, or they cheated on her. From what I hear, she's very lonely. She wasn't good at hiding lies, and now nobody wants her around. During lockdown, my sister had a meltdown because she thought I had stolen a pair of nail clippers shaped like a foot that she owned. I told her, truthfully, that I also had a pair and that she had stolen mine. They actually were hers. I found mine an hour later. Rather than tell her, I gave back hers and said, "If they mean so much to you, can have them." I then hid mine in her bag when she went back home after lockdown. She got there and found the 2 nail clippers and now believes that she was wrong, and that the nail clippers she had a meltdown over were actually mine. That's why I'm happy I'm an only child, yes, about that. Only child here, and one evening Mom and I had come home. Mom went to use the bathroom, and there was a towel folded on the floor. For whatever reason, Mom grabbed it and tossed it onto the toilet. Since it was just me and Mom, 2 females, we always kept the lid down. This time the lid was up and the towel went right into the toilet. Mom was so pissed she yelled at me for a good 20 minutes. I denied having anything to do with the towel and the toilet lid, but only child, who else could have done it? I went and cried in my bedroom. I was 7 or 8. Next day Mom finds out her asshole boyfriend had stopped by while we were out and he took a shower. He left the damn towel and the toilet lid up. I never got an apology. How I hated that man for so many reasons. I made up a person. When I was in high school, I wanted to sound more popular, so I made up a guy friend. He had an incredibly interesting backstory. This went on for years, well into college. I had the same friends, so I couldn't just end the charade. The funny thing is, all of these people, my family, my best friend, even my husband, believe that they met this man. I never introduced them to anyone, but over the years, they all have different memories of seeing him. Finally, I just sort of phased him out, saying that we grew apart and lost touch. And yet, people will randomly ask me for updates on him. I just give vague answers and watch my husband smirk from across the room. My husband is the only person who knows the truth. I am so ashamed that I will never admit it. That lie was such a dumb thing that snowballed. This is honestly great and actually made me laugh. However, it's crazy how memories are so fluid and unreliable. I used to lie. Like a lot. I used to make up stories to tell people, just for the sake of it. I don't do it anymore, although this leads me to telling the same stories over and over. Uncle confided in me that he stopped taking the medications that are keeping him alive because he can't handle the weight of his life. Currently trying to be there for him as much as I can, but haven't told anyone because I feel like it's his choice, and I'd likely want the same in his situation. He's just worn out and feels like he's done his time, and has already done what he can for the people around him. Reminds me of my uncle. We each have a rare muscle condition that will probably put us in wheelchairs later in life, and found out he's been doing meth and robbing homes to fund it. I love him so much, it hurts to see him doing something that will hurt others as well as himself. Edit, to clarify, he is not currently in a wheelchair. Edit 2, I do not condone his use of thievery to fuel a meth addiction. I hope to God he isn't selling again, because he's already served 5 years for selling. Because some people have mentioned it, it's not as easy as just reporting him. I'm not exactly told when he breaks and enters, as far as I know it's only happened once, and his parents, my grandparents, just bail him out. Sorry for the initial comment not being too clear. In biology class we were dissecting a pig's eyeball, and my hand slipped and the eyeball fell on the floor, and me being extremely lazy I kicked it under a cabinet, and it lay there for 2 years until someone finally found it. I'm just picturing some unfortunate cleaner randomly finding this fucking desiccated eyeball. I've cleaned bio labs, and a desiccated eyeball isn't even very high on the list of disgusting things we find. Once body parts are dried up, they hardly smell at all. That classroom was notorious for being very humid, but the smell wasn't a big deal since nobody really sensed it. I'm in a lot of debt and it's potentially going to ruin my relationship. I've been there, man. I'm almost on the other side of it now, I'll be debt-free by November when my first child is born. Look up a credit counseling service in your area. That's what I did. My quality of life has gone up so much it's incredible. I secretly broke a 2,500 euros printer that is rare and precious. I just fixed it just enough that the second person using it got blamed for this and almost expelled from school. Maybe the person before you did the same thing to you. It's a tradition, going back generations. It's actually a school that teaches kids to fix things, and this is used to weed out the weaker links. I drew a massive penis on the ceiling in my art classroom, probably a meter long, and it's been there for years. I asked friends who have brothers and sisters there, and they say it's still there. It's been like 8 years now. It's now the school's heritage face with tears of joy. They're going to make it the mascot. That there is someone on my Facebook who is lying about her dad passing of cancer whilst her eldest daughter, 8 years old, is fighting a brain tumor. It is all lies. Her dad is alive and well. Her daughter is completely healthy. One of the pictures she used as proof is her daughter lying on a hospital bed. From what I know, she was just in for observation after a small fall. She has 2 Facebook profiles. One for all her family and friends of the family. And the second one, that I'm friends with, is for old school friends, general acquaintances and anyone she dates, etc. There's so much more lies, but those 2 ones are the ones I know 100,000% to be false. Edit, this went a bit mental. I tried to confront her, this was last year, and she denied it. Going as far to provide screenshot messages between her and her sister. However, the reason I knew it was bullshit was by speaking to her mum and passing on condolences. Yep. Didn't go down well. Her mum accused me of being mistaken until I showed her screenshots of the posts. She didn't reply. That's when I confronted the liar by message, countering her screenshots with the ones between myself and her mum. I was swiftly blocked. As far as I know, she's still lying. She's had several miscarriages, cervical cancer, dad dying, daughter fighting cancer, and many more. I'm completely blocked from all her socials, so I can't say for certain if she's still lying. I did tell her to get help. I admittedly took it very personally, as my dad had passed away not long before she lied about her dad, so it hit a nerve. She never admitted to it. Never explained. Instant blocks. Fuck you Nally S for being an attention-seeking knob end. Edit 2. Ironically, I have had several people send me directs accusing me of lying about this. Happy to provide proof to mods. Although this happened last year and a half ago, I will reach out to local professionals for advice to make sure her 2 kids are safe. Sadly, I didn't consider the possibility of her lies escalating and putting her kids in actual danger at the time. I'm ashamed that I didn't contact professionals sooner. Please consider reaching out to family members of hers, or even calling Child Protective Services. This is not normal or healthy behavior, and she very well may try and make her child or family sick for attention. When I was in middle school, I was being bullied physically and mentally, quite bad. My grades dropped and my mom got upset, so there was this period of fighting before we got into therapy together. The worst thing I've ever said to my mother was, "I wish I had been a miscarriage like my older brother." Mom and I are very close now, and I'm back in therapy for different issues, smiley face. I once told my mom I wish she was like some reptilian that laid the eggs and then died. Not my proudest moment. A buddy of mine had a wife that used to be a stripper. She ended up leaving him for one of her patrons. Before she left him, she was impregnated by him, my buddy. She ended up marrying the guy she left him for, and the newish dad is basically raising his kid. I'm still friends with both of them on Facebook since I was cool with both of them, and her son definitely looks like him. This was maybe 7 to 8 years ago. I just shut the fuck up about the whole situation. I don't trust my partner with money. I've been tracking how much he spends on weed per month, and it's a lot. I don't know how to bring it up because we are saving for a house, but 95% of everything we have so far is from me, while he spends $500 a month on would you already know this, but seriously consider whether or not you want to tie your finances that way with someone who handles money that way. That I hit some kid in the back of a trampoline park with a chain I grabbed off of a fence, because he kept poking me. I think your respective ages could alter my reaction to this post. Not in all my 48 years have I met a more annoying 8-year with a stick. They were but a wee child of 37. I was molested and raped for like 5 years by me neighbor, and went on a mission to convince myself I wanted and loved sex in a sick attempt to take back power, but just ended up letting other older men abuse me for most of my teenage life. I got addicted to drugs and I still feel like a 10-year-old boy, and everywhere I look lately I see me as a kid. In the reflections of windows on the black screen of my phone looking out at me in horrible nightmares. It's like my mind has finally snapped. I can't even brush my teeth in silence because it feels like 100 voices are in my head screaming at me, and my hair has started falling out in lumps. I don't know what to do. I feel like a diseased animal, but I don't know what to do. I don't know who to tell, or how to even begin changing and becoming the man I should have been. My life is ruined, and I don't know how to stop self-destructing. I just wish it never happened, and that I could be the boy I once was before he ever touched me and ruined me. I'm sorry this happened to you. Please sell out a trauma specialist therapist. Thank you. I'm going to try do that. This is the first time I've spoken about it ever, and I don't know how I would do it in person face to face. It's just I'm not good at opening up to people. A guy whose dad worked on our farm took me way out back, when I was about 7 to 8, and made me suck his dick. Probably happened about 12 years ago, only my GF knows. Edit. Thank you everyone for the amazingly kind comments and everything. For now, I don't plan to say anything about it as I don't want it to affect the rest of his family or anything, as there's no reason to make anyone else feel shitty for his own stupid actions, but I do really appreciate everyone who reached out. Thanks again. Love. Not okay. You okay, fam? Yeah, it was a long time ago. Pretty sure it has caused a few of my problems in my life, just being there subconsciously, but it's okay. Nothing I can do now. Sorry that happened to you, friend. I dropped a bun in the self-service area of a convenience store. I didn't pay for it. I just kicked it under the shelf and left. You should be put to justice, you horrible little scum. My senior prom was in 2010. After prom I had a party at my parents' cabin just outside of town. Later that night I found my boyfriend having sex in my car with my volleyball co-captain. I didn't confront them but instead went to his car, which was only 2 or 3 weeks old, and took a shot in the passenger seat. I wiped with some napkins he had in the glove box and put them in his cup holders. I went back inside and kept drinking. I dropped a human brain once in prep class, and put it back like nothing happened, and everyone was wondering what kind of head trauma that person died of. Edit. Holy shit, I didn't know I could make so many people laugh. Thank you for all the upvotes and awards. That is really not necessary. I figured I add the specifics here quickly, because I am a little overwhelmed with responding to so many comments. I was a teaching assistant to the professor for human anatomy and preparatory class. Part of my job, I studied biology and am a trained preparator turned mortician and am specialized in reconstruction, was to prepare donor bodies for upcoming classes. I would receive specific orders from the professor, what kind of grossing tables, which body part, what kind of class, etc. I am not a MD or even thought about being one. I'm just a basement dweller that makes a living off death, and I am grateful to do so. The good ones would have noted the trauma occurred post-mortem. The newbies would have thought, is this that kind of lab? Actually, it was an entire freshman class that day. I was present for class, and after lots of guessing the prof said op dropped it. It was hilarious. At least to me. I had to clean up just one puke that day. Big brain moment. Edit. Thank you kind Redditor for my first silver. Laughing face. Bruised brain moment. I am pretty sure this person was dropped as a child. One of my friends has nudes of our mutual friend's mom. Fucking hell, he doesn't know it. He video calls her at night. Wait, do you know the guy from the other comment? Thank you. I was surprised reading his comment, when I literally read another comment above that had the same content. My friend's kid eats PB&J with ranch. I'm thinking of calling CPS. As a teenager, I was abroad with my class. I shared a room with 2 other girls. One morning I went to the toilet and take a dump. I was shocked as I saw that the toilet flushing was not strong enough to wash it away. I panicked. So I grabbed it with toilet paper, wrapped it around and throw it as far as I could out of the window. Edit, aw thank you, /Taco Panda 15, my first award ever. May your poop never clog your toilet. One day I was walking down some street in Paris, and got hit in the face with a load of shit wrapped up in toilet paper. Put a shit ton of soap in the toilet, and wait 5 minutes for it to dissolve the grease, and then flush. If it rises instead of sinking, panic. This is actually a very good tip. A friend I used to live with was a maintenance guy for an apartment complex, and he told me if you ever take such a huge shit it won't flush, just put some dish soap in there, and let it sit, and it'll break the poop down, and make it easier to flush. Edit, why did my most popular comment to date have to be about poop? Edit, my first Reddit award. Obligatory thank you kind Reddit stranger. This made my day. I need to be spending my time applying for jobs after I got laid off in April, but it's so overwhelmingly hopeless that I can't make myself do it. My field is collapsing in on itself, and I'm being sent rejection letters from retail jobs. I've been telling people about all the jobs I'm applying for, but really, I'm just not. Maybe try something else. I got a job this summer as a seasonal park ranger, gave me some time to figure out my next move. Honestly, I haven't told that many people about this, so it's nice to get this chance to vent a bit. When I was around 5M, I got raped by my older brother's friend who was around 12 or 13 at the time. My parents didn't report it because they'd get in trouble with the police, and when I called my mom out on that bullshit, she said that she was worried about how people would view us. Currently 15, kind of confused because I'm planning on doing something when I leave the house, but there's no evidence at this point, so it's just my word against his, and honestly, not really sure whether my parents will take my side if I do take a stand. Only my rapist's parents, my parents, and my younger brother know. Edit, oh yeah, I forgot to mention my rapist was babysitting me at the time. I have no idea how many other people he was babysitting. Edit 2, thank you everyone for all the kind words of encouragement and advice. After a bit of thinking, I've decided to report my rapist once I leave my parents' house. I was not expecting anywhere near as many people to respond to this, and I honestly was just venting my frustration about it, expecting nothing to come of it. Thank you ever so much to everyone for all the replies. I'm sorry this happened to you. You deserve better parents. Can you get assistance, therapy? Well, if I asked my parents, they'd insist that I didn't need it, and that I'm exaggerating. Yo dude, fuck your parents. I have kids and it makes me so damned angry to hear shit like this. Your parents should have done everything possible to prevent this from ever happening again. I'm not an angry man, but I'd have to have the police involved just to prevent me from killing that kid. Think I might be developing a psychotic disorder, and have zero clue what to do. My dad's probably cheating on me, mum, sad face. I once found a chocolate bar in a trash can when I was waiting at the bus stop. I ate it. If it was still in the wrapper, no biggie. I hope he checked it for golden tickets first, especially if his grandpa is a bedridden deadbeat faking a decades-long injury. George. It was hovering above the rim, like an angel. My friend's girlfriend is having serious doubts about their relationship, and she's telling everyone but him. It looks like she wants someone else to tell him, so that she doesn't have to start the breakup conversation. It is cowardly behavior, and I would give him a heads up. Then tell your friend. I got nudes from my best friend's mom. Does she got it going on? Was she all you wanted that you waited so long for? Heck yeah. You know I'm not the little boy that I used to be. We need full context and story behind it. I loved ketchup so much as a kid that I used to have it with cereal sometimes. Ketchup was the first thing my son ever ordered at a restaurant. I said, he'll have some fries with that. Also, I managed to keep the fact that you can buy ketchup at the store from him until he was 5 or so. I let him believe you could only get it at restaurants. This is evil genius. Mother of Jesus. Mary 10 points. Brings up an odd memory of me eating Cheez-Its with milk as a kid because I figured they'd work as cereal. WTF is wrong with me? My cousin used to make me sick his dick when I was 7. We're here for you, bud. You should probably tell someone you trust about that. He shouldn't get away with that. It was 20 years ago. Not much to be done now. Nil feels kind of good to get it off my chest though. Literally have never spoke about it until now. That must have taken some courage to type. I'm sure you realize that no 7-year-old would have agency in that situation. It's not your fault that that happened to you, even if you played along. I hope you are doing okay, my dude. I've never told this to anyone, but my brother made me hang out with him under the sheets, where he would propose to kiss each other's privates. I think I was 7 or south as well, which makes him around 13. It only happened the one time as far as I remember, probably because I did try to voice how uncomfortable it was. I just try not to think about it now. Although my brother has had many mental issues in adulthood, so maybe this was the first part of their manifestation. I'm just going through the motions of life until I die. I have no aspirations. Asterisk LOL. I'm pretty sure I'm not depressed, I'm just very lazy. Tie for the concern to whomever reached out to Reddit support. I got their message 6 hours ago. I occasionally went to a convenience store when I was a kid to buy some stuff that my parents ordered me to get for home. They almost never gave me allowance at the time, so there was that brand of Jell-O candy which was in a wrapper. I'd open it a little and take from the candy every time I visit that store. One time, I got caught and a worker there accused me of stealing, and when he searched my pockets, he found nothing, although I was storing some in the same pockets that he had searched. It was a close call. My younger sister was with me at the time. I felt disgusted from myself back at the time, and since then, I never stole anything under any circumstances. I pulled off an all-nighter playing Call of Duty, and went to college the next day. Needless to say, I was so exhausted and sleepy. While riding back from college, I fell asleep on my moped and crashed into a bush. Luckily, I didn't hit another vehicle or get hurt. I didn't tell anyone this because I was too embarrassed. P.S. If you ever feel sleepy while riding a vehicle, please call someone to pick you up or take a cab. Let my mistake be a lesson for everyone. I'm addicted to cocaine, please get help, man. A friend of mine was too, and he went full psychosis after a couple of years. His worried boss found him in his flat, completely detached from reality, babbling nonsense. If no one is checking you on this, this is your future. This happened to my ex's stepbrother. He thought that the settling sounds his old house made were camera clicks from the government taking pics of him from other dimensions also. Aside from the mental aspects you're referring to, the physical aspects like coke bloat and a deviated septum are very, very real. I had an older buddy die to that shit. Not an OD, he just couldn't handle it anymore. Please. For me, if nobody else, stop and get a good therapist/doctor to help. Rehab can be good too. I don't want you to end up the same way he did. He went in one of the worst ways I could imagine. Quit for Jared. Good luck, pal. Message me if yes want to chat. It takes time, but you can pull yourself out, buddy. Edit, and I'll say this for anybody out there that needs to hear it. It's going to be hard and an emotional roller coaster, but you can fucking do it. After a year or so your life gains this contentment and richness that you'll never want to lose. Stay strong and honest with yourself. Don't put yourselves into shitty situations if you can control it, and find somebody that you can turn to when triggered. Talk it out, divert your attention, remember the low points, and why you're pulling yourself out of it. You can do this. My second oldest brother is the result of rape, and the rapist was my biological grandfather. When I was 15, my dad sat me down and told me the true story of why my parents divorced when I was a kid. My brother and I had lived with my mom, so we only heard her story. Dad was an awful alcoholic and she decided to leave. The true story was that, yes, my dad was an alcoholic and he and my mom weren't compatible in any way. He threw himself into working, and my mom began an affair with my uncle's neighbor. My dad caught them and filed for divorce and then got sober. 12 years later, only my dad and I know the true story. We both knew that my brother wouldn't be able to handle knowing the full story because he has some deep-rooted emotional issues. My mom doesn't know that I know either. It took a few years in therapy, but I forgave her. I logged in my BF's Telegram ACC from my device, and found he was dating me and other girls at the same time. Still reading his chats. Got to log out and leave him, but I can't just let him know that then break up with him. If he does that, he's an asshole. I was going to kill myself about 2 years ago, but would up making a deal with myself that I would wait until I was 17, and if I still felt that way I would do it. I turned 17 in a month, and my mental health is so much worse. I'm the person I thought I wanted to be, but I still hate myself. Please don't kill yourself. It's not the answer. Please go see a DR. Antidepressants can work wonders. And please see a counselor. I understand you are probably under your parents' insurance. Maybe have a talk with them and tell them you need to talk to someone. Or look around in your area to see if there are mental health services offered. Please don't do it. Life will get better. High school is a tough time. My dad's affair with a man roughly my age. My childhood with my parents was traumatic and physically abusive enough. I'm too detached to tell my mom or siblings. Also, if you're expecting a text from the hot young stud you plan to bone, maybe don't leave your phone on the restaurant table while you go to the bathroom. Edit, the gay part isn't disgusting. The being a lying, moral, Bible-thumping sack of shit is. I think people are more concerned about the roughly my age part. Well, it started when I was about 22/23 to my knowledge, and has continued for 6+ years. So at least it's not that level of bad. I'd totally narc on him if it was, though. Edit, for context, he was in his 60s when it began. A girl from my school needed glasses after she got a snowball in her eye. The snowball came flying from the other side of the building, across the roof, and hit her in the eye. This is 15 years ago. No one knows who threw that snowball, the shame. My brother forced me to do horrible things like put his dick in my ass when he was 13, and I was 7, and I still am traumatized, plus he keeps bringing it up like teasing me. My brother is a disgusting human being. Ever thought about recording your conversations? My mental health is currently driving me crazy. I'm not sure why I can't just get better. I'm in therapy, I'm studying for my bachelor's in psych, and I'm generally knowledgeable about mental illnesses, yet I still can't seem to get myself on the right track. I've been hitting myself lately when I'm angry or anxious for stress relief. I was sitting in the car the other day just thinking, and envisioned myself banging my head on the window over and over till it was bloody and broken. I don't know why. I'm only diagnosed with anxiety. I haven't told my therapist, and I don't want to. I always have this fear that no one will believe me, or they'll think I'm faking. I've just been keeping it to myself and hoping my new prescription will help my anxiety, and in turn make these feelings go away. I'm a mental health professional, currently in academia but formerly a counselor. I'm sorry you're going through this, but I want to draw one inconsistency to your attention in the hopes that having it presented to you grants some perspective on something you might be semi-willfully ignoring. I'm studying for my bachelor's in psych and I'm generally knowledgeable about mental illnesses, yet I still can't seem to get myself on the right track. Does not line up with haven't told my therapist, and I don't want to. This really doesn't work logically, and I can tell you from personal experience with my own mental health struggles that holding back on the aspects of your problems that you're more ashamed is counterproductive as hell. Not only can it lead to an inaccurate or incomplete diagnosis, but carrying the negative feelings associated with this stuff can just compound the things you're already struggling with. I did it for a long time, and frankly I'm lucky that I am married to an incredibly loyal and supportive woman, otherwise I honestly think I would have continued holding back on certain things leading to an eventual self-destruct. I definitely came close enough. Please bring this stuff up with your therapist. They're there to believe you, and if they're dismissive of something along these lines, especially in the realm of self-harm, then it's a blessing in disguise because you'll know that it's time to look for a new therapist. Again, I'm sorry you're experiencing this, and I know firsthand how difficult it can be. Good luck with everything, and just remember that as tough as this is, you can get through it, and having this type of first-hand experience will lead to greater understanding and empathy when you've finished that psych degree and go to work in the field. Seriously, you've got this, and I'm rooting for you, even if it's just from the internet. I spent money on Boom Beach, that shitty mobile game. The amount of poop I have to deal with right now. I've talked about it on Reddit, but I'm hiding it from family. My son is in the middle of months of potty training, and has realized that having poop in his diaper makes him uncomfortable. He's super independent, so instead of alerting us he just takes it out. We've been working on it, and then we think we're past it, and then we go to get him from a nap, and there's poop everywhere. I can't wait until he's fully potty trained. My room is a mess, and I, an adult, treat myself as an abandoned child I once was, and I hate it. It's like a prison to never escape. I wanted to stay around for my pet who was my only family, but he died in July. Outside I'm inspiration porn for many kinds of assault-related mental illness, but I'm really a fucking rotten shell of a human who is not even living a life. I'm struggling with cleaning my room too. Want to do me a puck of your room? I'll DM you a picture of mine, and we can make progress together. Also, as someone who struggles with other mental illnesses, I just want to remind you that however you feel right now is okay. I'm sending you a virtual hug. Edit, we made a subreddit. r/let's clean this mess. All people who want to clean a mess with us are welcome. Hey, this sounds good. I like the idea, thank you. Hug received, smiley face. I first want to say, I'm here if you need to chat. Secondly, maybe look into fostering a new pet, or adopt a new pet. Having something to attach yourself to stay alive is nothing to be ashamed of, as that is the only reason I myself am still here today. Sending hugs. I tried to smoke a cigarette with my ass. A friend helped me put it there. It didn't work. Last week I said I was going out for a drive to clear my head, but I actually just bought a cheesecake and ate the whole thing in the car. My wife went out drinking with coworkers and got shit-faced. I had to struggle to get her inside. Blackout drunk, crying, puking, it was a nightmare, and not the first time doing this. After putting her to bed, I shit on the driveway next to her car door, and told her she did it while drunk, and told her the neighbor saw her do it. She found it going to work the next day. She has not gone out drinking since, and this was 4 years ago. If she does drink, she's one and done. Edit, first of all, I'm blown away by how this blew up. I posted before work and just now seeing this. I'm going to address some points both from the feed and personal messages. 1. Yes, we're still married and very happy. 2. It started as a prank because we are that couple that loves to prank each other. 3. I let her believe it for a couple of days, and after I seen a positive change in the woman I loved, I didn't dare change the scenario, due to drinking like that it's good for anyone. 4. I don't care if she finds out, she would be impressed I didn't tell her sooner, because that shit changed her life for the positive. 5. She no longer works where she did, and never talked to the neighbor again. We were actually looking for a new house that we now live in. 6. Only my game friends and 2 real-life friends know. If any of them see this, and they just might, they will probably tell the whole story, and it is far more hilarious than the quick, before work post with bad grammar. For all of you soft haters, I left out the finish, and in my opinion is better than what you read here. For those who loved it, I'm glad a snapshot of my marriage made you laugh and smile. My first ever awards, thank you kind strangers. This story is unique enough that if she ever sees this comment, your cover is blown. Not if we help him. I once got so drunk I shat by my car, and haven't drank since. I'm imagining your neighbors catching you. I'm teaching my wife a lesson, go back inside. Constructive gaslighting, that's a new one. This is the best one. First time I jacked off was in the EP caught ball, uneasy face. Careful everyone. Op is tugging it. I'm constantly in a depressed state that I ignore upkeep of myself in almost every aspect of my private life. On paper I look really successful with a bright future, and I try to be as happy and positive I can to the public, and if you ask people who know me, that I'm great. But in reality, I cry almost nightly over my inability to do normal people things like basic cleaning of my room, and talking to my friends who I love dearly, and get upset with myself on how I need to be better, but I feel like I can't. I definitely need therapy, but with everything going on, how can I? Edit. Holy cow, I just got back from work and so much love and care from the comment threads plus the personal messages I've received have just made me a sobbing mess. I always thought I was alone in this, that I wasn't worthy of receiving help or love. And to read all these messages about well wishes and how things get better have made me super emotional. I've been reading that telehealth, or that some apps may be able to help, so I'm going to ask my dad, I'm on his insurance, to set me up with someone to talk to. And for everyone struggling like me, if you need someone to talk to, my inbox is open. Thank you for being so nice to me, and to other Redditors. You guys are awesome. That I was sexually abused as a boy from the ages of 6 to 11 by a woman. I thought she was my friend and that the things she made me do were what boys did with female friends. I told a girlfriend about it years later, and she just told me she didn't have time to deal with my shit. She was a therapist, so I thought I could confide in her. I'll never make that mistake again. Edit 1, an ex to a girlfriend. She became an ex that night. Edit 2, I told my GF at the time, so she could refer me to a colleague. She worked for a group that provided therapy to survivors of rape and sexual abuse. She then told me she didn't have time to deal with my shit, and that males are the sole perpetrators of rape and sexual abuse. Females are incapable of such acts, especially on a child, effectively calling me a liar. The organization folded in 2009 due to controversies surrounding the negative treatment of clients by therapists at the center. Sorry to hear that, bro, glad to hear she's an ex. That is a horrible thing to say to somebody trying to confide in them about anything at all. You made no mistake in trying to trust someone. There are good people out there though, never forget that. I accidentally stole a packet of Welch's gummies once. It was at this walk thingy at my brother's elementary school. I was 11 or so, and I thought they were just handing them out to everyone who attended the walk. Not me, but my wife. A few years back, one of her best friends started dating a guy who kind of pinged my wife's shitbag radar. He didn't have a driver's license and claimed he never had one, but he owned a car that didn't work. He started using my wife's friend's car regularly, and used her debit card to pay for gas. My wife paid to have a background check done on him. She found out he had a revoked license for a hit and run and various other moving violations. He had been arrested multiple times for fraud and drug possession, heroin and pills, and had some other shady activity on his docket. She chose not to say anything because she felt like she had gone too far, and her friend insisted the guy was the one, until her friend found out he had gotten a moving violation in her car, and had wiped out her savings to buy pills. So maybe she should come clean on that one sooner. I can remember finding my dad dead on the couch, when I was 5, and has caused me so much shit I don't get out of bed most days, and my BF has to force me to eat sometimes. Not really disgusting, but I feel disgusting. My both parents are dead. I saw my father few hours before he died. I saw my mother dying. I was 25/20 respectively. Too soon, but much later than 5yo. Sorry for you. In 5th grade I stabbed a boy with a pencil in his arm. It didn't go deep. We were goofing off and I planned on thumping him with the eraser end of my pencil, but didn't realize it was the wrong end. He never told the teacher or his parents, but he held it over my head for the rest of the year. My brother raped me when I was 12. My vegan cousin just celebrated her 5th year of veganism for moral reasons. 2 Christmases ago, I was in charge of putting together vegan pozole for her, and I put chicken bouillon in it on accident, and I'm going to carry that secret with me forever. I used to try to suffocate my little brother with a pillow when we were young. It was just a joke since we did it to each other, but later we learned we could have accidentally killed each other. Wow! You are still with us. Thanks for being such a nice person. As long as you are here, why not like this video and subscribe to our channel? Also, you can press the bell icon, so you won't miss any future uploads.